my premise is that everybody can compost in some way, shape, or form. And here, for example, even if you get those little compost buckets that you sit on your kitchen and you're peeling potatoes and oops, the rice burned, throw it in there, the coffee grounds, all of that stuff. You can take that and you go outside and you can dig a hole, put it in there, cover it, done. The microbes, the worms, it breaks it all up. Done. It's done. You can do it in between your broccoli plants. You can do it in areas you haven't gardened yet. People go, well, wait a minute, my dog's going to dig it up. Well, they're not going to dig up maybe lettuce and coffee grounds. That's the point. You want to get it deep enough, cover it well enough, like 4 inches of soil or something. I do it all winter.
So
dig and drop.
Okay. So here's the question, Containers have a tendency to freeze pretty hard during the winter months.
Right.
Hard to dig a hole in the winter months. So can you layer your compost? Can you dig a hole in the fall in the middle of your container, or dig multiple holes in your container in the fall and then compost, put some dirt on top? Compost, put some dirt on top. Does that work?
It does, because, you put a banana peel on your kitchen counter, compost starts, right? It's just the breaking down. Another thing you can do along those lines is perfect, is you take a tote, like a Rubbermaid tote.
Right.
You've got kitchen scraps during the winter. You put them in the tote, and then you put a layer of leaves. Stir it up a little bit. And throw in maybe a shovelful or so, or a handful of real garden soil. Not potting soil, but basic dirt that we've got here, which is loaded with microbes. And they're on it. They are breaking it down all winter. Then, when you're getting ready to fill a container, or maybe you do have a 3x3x3 bin, you can create a new compost batch.
So you're talking about keeping your little tote outside.
Sure. Well, as a matter of fact, we tell our B&B guests where to do it. And they take their little container from where they're staying, and they take it out there, and they stir it up with leaves. Okay. It's just so simple. Now, if you want to do the big thing, 3x3x3 is the minimum size.
Okay.
You've got to have the mass to heat up. You collect all of your ingredients all at once. If you do the toss it in occasionally, it won't heat up. And that's where the biggest problem is worldwide for people who want to create hot compost. Gather your ingredients, make it all at once. It's like making a batch of cookies. When you make a batch of cookies, you don't get the butter, and then next week get the flour, and then 2 days later you get the vanilla. You collect all your ingredients on the kitchen counter, and then you make your batch of cookies. So composting is the same thing. If you want hot compost that gets to 160 degrees Fahrenheit in 2 or 3 days, that's what you have to do.
Huh.
Yes.
That fast?
That fast. It'll just go, wah, like this.
Could you do that again?
Whee! So you 3x3x3, you make it all at once, you turn it on day 2. So within 6 weeks, you get finished compost.
Okay, so you're taking all of your ingredients. Are you layering them, or are you just mixing them all up and throwing them in the bin, and then you go back on day 2 and stir?
It's a good question, because a lot of resources will tell you, do the layered look. Well, sorry. I have done this for over 30 years. When you create a layer, you stop the movement of oxygen, like hitting the ceiling.
Makes sense to me.
So when I make my compost pile, I take a pitchfork and I do kind of the pulled pork thing or shredded wheat. I just shred it as I go. Water it, more ingredients, shred it as I go. And it's the great upper body workout. Yeah.
I'm assuming you don't want to put a ton of water on this, or it would slow it down.
It'll drown those little microbes, and I don't have enough snorkels to hand out to those bazillions of
microbes.
Yeah.
Do you cover that pile?
I do.
Pile and cover
I
it?
do 2 things.
Okay.
I cover it twice. We
just
have
to
a
be
shed.
sure?
We actually built a shed.
Okay.
So that it blocks the nor'easters, so the wet ones.
Yep.
So we can get it and work without having to cover it. If I had it outside, I would cover it with anything, a weighted piece of plywood or a tarp that covers it totally. But I also, and this is where it's kind of fun, you know how when your kids are growing and you mark on the wall as they grow, right? Well, I like to do the opposite with compost. I like to watch it as it breaks down and sinks.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
So on top of the actual pile on the ingredients, materials,
right.
I put a piece of like foam insulation, like 1-inch foam, or a piece of carpet or something, and it just sort of walks down with the compost as it breaks down.
You can see it.
And it's multi-purpose because it keeps the pests out, but it also gives me a spot where I can poke a hole through it, and I put my compost thermometer.
Okay.
Because that's what tells me what the core temperature is. And that's so, so important. It's like going to the doctor, hey, just take your temperature, see what's going on.
These compost thermometers, are they specialized, or is it basically like a candy thermometer that's got the long doohickey thingy on it, or what?
It's a little bit like a candy thermometer with a long doohickey thing.
Okay.
You can get them 20 inches, 24-inch stems, 36 if you want.
Gardening stores or whatever.
You get what you pay for,
as usual.
Mine's kind of fogged up a little bit, so I got a new one. And you'll love this. So one day I'm out on the beach and I'm collecting seaweed and kelp, right? And I do it by hand because I like to get the good stuff, And so I look down and here's this sort of piece of orange-looking thing, plastic thing. It looked like a little foot. I went, well, that's weird. So I picked it up, and it's a Gumby guy,
cool.
and it's a cowboy.
Cool.
And so bendable arms and legs and cowboy hat and boots, Compost Cowboy.
Perfect.
And so I latch his arm around the thermometer, and he just kind of rides up and down anyway, Compost Cowboy. There you go.
Oh, Marion, you are unique.